When I started to play with this tool, I didn't expect where it would take me. My goal was to prove it was used for long-distance communication, even though from the start I was convinced it's just a myth. So let's look at the claim and how to prove it. If I say it was for long-distance communication, I should have proof. If I don't have the proof, why am I saying it? On the other hand, I claim it was not for long-distance communication. Do I have proof for that? No. You can't really prove a negative, so let me rephrase. I'm saying there is no evidence that this tool was used for long-distance communication. That's why I refuse to believe it. Whoever claims it was, let them prove it. And that's why I try to prove it's true, even though I don't believe it. See? I was trying to find evidence that my own position is wrong. But the more I tried, the more I had to think about what it would actually mean if this tool really worked that way. Think about technology evolution. Let's call this tool primitive tech. What would happen if it were an effective long-distance tool? Let's start from broad perspective. Imagine you suddenly have no phone or internet. No fax, no telegram. How small would your world get? To send a message, you would have to go there yourself or send a messenger. Here is the first problem. You can send an urgent message. You are dealing with distance and time. By the time it arrives, it might be useless. Use a pigeon? Another problem besides the time. You need a pigeon from the person you are messaging. Do you have pigeons from everyone you know? Light the fire, like in Lord of the Rings? Problem. You only send a signal and it must be agreed on it in advance. Since it's hard and expensive, you won't use it for just anything. You won't send what you have for a lunch. Your world shrinks and slows down. Information becomes rare and very expensive. So, your world is small. You can only communicate as far as you can walk, cycle, drive, or ride a horse. You start sorting information and picking which method fits. You won't send an emergency request by mail. You create a network and codes. Think about what that means. I thought about it a lot, and even though I remember the world before the internet, it seems incredibly inconvenient. What about a prehistoric human? Their world was maybe a week's walk wide. Their daily world, half a day. If there was a way to communicate across a day distance, I think this would happen. Over the time, they would perfect it. We are talking about generations of culture transfer. People all over the world would end up with the same tool. Why? Technological evolution. Because that's the beauty of things that work. If something works based on physics, it can be discovered anywhere independently. From a simple board on a string, the most efficient shape would eventually emerge. And that shape would be preserved everywhere, but the ones we have are all different. Some have teeth, some are smooth, some are rectangles, some are teardrops. In my own small and naive research, I found huge differences in performance. Some are totally useless, others work well, even without decorations. Even the material would be standardized. I found that denser material is better, lower moment of inertia is better. Do you think people wouldn't figure that out if it let them communicate without being face to face? One argument says you can send messages by changing the frequency. I would like to see that, but I won't dismiss it. I can't judge the skills of trained messengers by my own. It's like saying an English longbow is useless just because I can't shoot it. We are talking about sound modulations, changing the string length or rotation speed. Also, the plane of rotation changes the sound. It would be interesting to test. However, I will leave that to someone with better shape. I want to see if the change can be noticed or clear enough to carry any complex info. The long distance argument, what does it even mean? If we are close enough to see gestures, we don't need this tool. We can just shout and say more, it would be easier. If we can see each other, well, that's more interesting. We can still shout or scream or whistle. Take for example the Silbogomero. It's a whistling language that works up to 3 kilometers, according to Wikipedia. And well, that's maybe something. The shape of the landscape probably helps there, but I didn't study it to say for sure. But the shape of the landscape is something that I would expect to help here with this Bullroarer. If it was for flat areas with low grass, no trees or hills to break the sound, why is it found everywhere, regardless of the landscape? Why didn't it evolve if it was so important and practical? What about the sound itself? It's pretty unnatural. It sounds almost mechanical and weird. Just try it for yourself, make one. I've shared the dimensions of the one that work for me. Make it, take it out and use it near people who don't expect it. You will see the look on their faces, the surprise, and that brings me back to the myth. This thing has definitely something else in it, something other than communication. It confuses people, surprise, take their attention. So what did I do? I overdid it. I made one control instrument based on my research and one massive, heavy overkill. So take a look. So what's the takeaway? Basically nothing, because I overdid it. The control piece sounds good, the overkill one is a nightmare to handle. Maybe I should only added half the weight. If you want to try it, let me know how you did it. But on the plus side, the heavy one isn't affected by the wind as much. Let me describe the test in detail. The location is an amphitheater. My cameraman is sitting in the middle of the stands, other observers are at the edges. There's about 20 meters between me and the camera. Now, why didn't I put the mic on myself? Because most videos are recorded from up close. And honestly, really, that close-up sound is cool. It might seem amazing, but even at 20 meters, it starts to get weak. I didn't want to act tough and pretend it's something too great. Let's be real. And what did we actually hear?
Can you hear me? Hey, 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 hey!
Even my voice is louder than the Bullroarer. Why would I struggle to communicate with a piece of wood when I can just scream? And another argument is that if you use it at night, it can be heard from long distance. Okay, it may be heard from some distance, but then you need to be sure that your receiver is awake and the signal needs to be agreed beforehand. I cracked a whip. And that whip didn't even have a cracker, just a makeshift paracord braid. and then the shepherd's whistle. Everything was much more effective. The only effect the Bullroarer had was, once again, just fascinating a random bystander who wondered what it was and how it made that sound. So, my friends, this is the end of my journey exploring the Bullroarer. It was fascinating and it was unexpected. At the end of the day, it's a great little thing for a good performance. For some mystical prehistoric rituals, but for communication, you are better off screaming or whistling if you don't have a phone. I would be more than happy to see some real scientific research in this manner. Few more things to wrap up. Helicopter pilots must have the cleanest chakras in the world. Why? Because according to the esoteric scammers who sell a piece of wood on a string, this Bullroarer cleans chakras and meridians and opens the third eyes and tunes astral spheres. Helicopter pilots have 2 or more of these things over their heads. And boy, do they hum. So if you want, sign up for the fly school. It will solve all your problems. Yes, that sarcasm was intentional from what I read, and I'm leaning towards this too. It was mostly used for ceremonies, rituals, summoning rain, or chasing away spirits, rather than communication on long distances. According to local folklore, it was even used for herding pigs into the barn. And I would stick with that at least for now. I named my Bullroarer Striga. I wanted to tell you what that means, Striga, or witch in your language. In mine, it means something even worse. We have more Vedma, Čarodejnica, Bosorka, Striga. To me, Striga is the worst one, and the all is there because it's seen as a witch helper. But maybe more on that another time. Anyway, thanks for your time.